Hello, Curious. A lot has happened this year, let's not lie. Some things that shocked us, some things that terrified us, and some things that just truly surprised us. Though I am sure it was the latter that people were feeling at the recent news that broke out of the Vatican. In a clip from a documentary about him, the leader of the Catholic Church made a positive statement about the LGBTQ+ community. Will Pope Francis's comments divide the Catholic Church? Let's not forget that this is not the first time he has been speaking out about the LGBTQ+ community in the Church and the world in general, on top of other progressive statements than his predecessors. Why has this historic moment caused an outrage among Catholics around the world? Has the Pope spoken out about this issue before? What other bold statements has he made before? And how have people reacted in general? Stay with me to find out all about what happened, but before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and the subscription button. Pope Francis became the first pontiff to openly endorse same-sex civil unions. A few days ago, a documentary titled Francesco premiered at the Rome Film Festival. It is in that documentary on camera that the Pope had made his statement, which some deem controversial. His words sparked cheers from the LGBTQ+ members of the Catholic Church, as well as demands for clarification from conservatives, given the Vatican's official teachings on the issue. But what were his exact words? As I said before, this was said on camera, so there's no denying that the Pope had said it. The documentary was created by Russian film director Evgeny Afineevsky. It features fresh interviews with the pontiff, looking into the issue that mean the most to the leader of the Catholic Church, which include the environment, poverty, migration, racial and income inequality, and the people that are most affected by discrimination. It was in one of the sit-down interviews featured in the film that the Pope said the following words: "Homosexual people have the right to be a family. They are children of God and have a right to be a part of the family. Nobody should be thrown out or made miserable because of it. What we have to have is a civil union law. That way they are legally covered." And after the press present at the screening reported it, all hell broke loose. The reason this surprised people so much is due to the Vatican's teachings on the LGBTQ+ relationships. One of the people who made a statement with regards to this was U.S. conservative Bishop Thomas Tobin of Providence, Rhode Island. He called for a clarification because, as he said, the Pope's statements clearly contradicts what has been the long-standing teachings of the Church about same-sex unions. The Church cannot support the acceptance of objectively immoral relationships. But what are those teachings everyone keeps talking about? Well, in 2003, when John Paul II was the Pontifex, the Church's Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith issued considerations regarding proposals to give legal recognition to unions between homosexual persons. The teaching says that LGBTQ+ people must be treated with dignity and respect, but that homosexual acts are intrinsically disordered. It also stated that this respect cannot lead in any way to approval of homosexual behavior or to legal recognition of homosexual unions. The Vatican's reasoning was that it would not only condone deviant behavior, but that it would also create an equivalence to marriage, which the Church holds as an indissoluble union between a man and a woman. The document was signed by the then prefect of the office, Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, who was Francis's predecessor. So I'm sure that you can understand why his recent statement has been a historic landmark for the LGBTQ+ community all over the world, and even more so for those who are of Catholic faith. It is worth noting that those views from the document were not incorporated into church teachings, but bishops and some bishops' conferences, which in certain countries can be politically influential, have often opposed civil unions in general as they see them as a threat to the church's views of traditional marriage. But has this always been the church's view on LGBTQ+ people and relations? For the most part, yes. Historically, Christian churches have regarded these same gender intimate relations as sinful, which was based on the Catholic understanding of the natural law and how they have interpreted certain passages from the Bible, which I will talk about a bit more in a moment. This view, that has been pretty much the same throughout history, is still affirmed by groups representing the most Christians, including the Catholic Church, the Orthodox Church, and some Protestant denominations. Some groups even go as far as to advocate for conversation therapy and promote something they call ex-gay groups who have supposedly been cured from their tendencies. However, many scientists have spoken out against the use of conversion therapy, as they say it does more harm than good, especially when it comes to a person's mental health. Going back to the Bible passages that I have mentioned which people use to justify their viewpoints, one of the main verses that people often quote is from the Old Testament. Leviticus 18:22 says, "You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination." Looking at it, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? However, many people have also been calling the Old Testament outdated, so it could be said that these things should be taken with a pinch of salt. Though, going back to Pope Francis, it is worth noting that this is not the first time that he has spoken out about LGBTQ+ issues. While he was still serving as Archbishop of Buenos Aires, he endorsed civil unions for gay couples as an alternative to same-gender marriages. Although until now, he has never come out publicly in favor of unions as Pope. Another time he had spoken out about this topic was back in 2013 when he was on a flight back from his visit to Brazil. According to the New York Times, on the flight there were several journalists who had asked his thoughts on priests who were gay, and he simply replied that if someone is gay and searches for the Lord and has goodwill, who is he to judge them? But wait, the Pope had also spoken out about trans rights. Well, maybe not so much as spoken, but sometimes actions speak louder than words. In 2015, in a meeting that was privately arranged by the Vatican officials, Pope Francis met with the now 53-year-old Diego Neria Learga. He was born a woman, but later in life underwent a gender reassignment procedure to become a trans man. The man that once, back in his native Spain, was called the Devil's Daughter by a local priest, decided to seek solace in the meeting with the head of the Catholic Church. And during the meeting, at which Learga's fiancé was also present, he asked the Pope if he had a place in the church, and the pontiff reportedly responded by embracing him. But it's not just his outlook on the LGBTQ+ community that made people dub Francis as a progressive pope. Back in 2013, he also heralded the revolutionary tone to his papacy by reminding the faithful that even those who do not believe in God, if they lead good and honorable lives, can ascend to heaven. He also gave an interview to the atheist Italian journalist in which he said that efforts to convert people to Christianity are solemn nonsense. And in May that same year, during a service, he famously said, "The Lord has redeemed all of us, with the blood of Christ. All of us, not just Catholics, everyone. Father, the atheists, even the atheists, everyone." Another controversial topic among the Catholic Church is with regards to women who choose to terminate their pregnancies. And that is another important issue that the Pope has spoken out about. The action of terminating a pregnancy is seen as a mortal sin in the Church, and a priest hearing confession would have to be given the authority by his bishop to be able to grant forgiveness. But the pontifex has said that he has opened a special temporary mercy window to make it easier for women to get back into the full good graces of the Church, saying that she just needs to go to confession. So, as you can see, these kind of bold statements, well, bold from the Church's point of view, are nothing new from the Pope. But how have the people reacted to his words? Many people were actually very happy to hear that they are being accepted by the head of the Church. Reverend James Martin, who is a Jesuit whose goal is to build bridges with the LGBTQ+ in the Church, has praised his comments as a major step forward in the Church's support for the LGBT people. In his statement, he also added that the Pope speaking positively about civil unions sends a strong message to places where the Church has opposed such laws. Francis DiBernardo, who is the executive director of New Ways Ministry, an organization of LGBT Catholics, has said, "A pope sets the tone for the Church, and what he is doing is signaling to bishops and church leaders that a welcome for gay and lesbian couples has to go forward." Stonewall UK have also tweeted about his words and called them immensely powerful and moving. They also added that from their own research, they know that a third of the LGBTQ+ people aren't open with anyone in their faith community about their orientation. While many people on social media were also quick to condemn the Pope's words, most people are generally happy to be able to get such recognition from the most important person in the Catholic Church. So curious, tell me, what do you think about Pope Francis's words? Do you agree with him? Now that he expressed his support, will things change for the better? Or will this be another momentary thing that no one will talk about again in a few months? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and I shall see you again in our next video.